Light Chronicles 5, called Guarded Light, has been like my biggest focus this month, and part of last month I really jumped into it, which I'm really excited about. I added about 4,000 words so far this month, and I think 3,000 last month. So I've been adding a lot of words to it. The thing about this book is actually what we're going to do is, all the other books were novellas. So what I'm doing is, because I'm doing another series called Light Chronicles Reimagined, is I'm kind of working on both of them at the same time with the same book, if that makes sense. So some of it's going to be taken for the novella so that I can finish up that part of it. But then I'm doing a whole thing on this series called Reimagined, because we're trying to pull it in to connect to a different series. But we've added about 24 pages this month so far, which to me is maybe even a little bit more than that. But it's kind of mind-boggling that it's so much. And it's so funny because I keep like reminding myself to get back into that writing cave, because I'm a dragon, because I have that chaos dragon, and I'm like, okay, writing cave, here we come. And I've been doing it in about 15-minute increments during my break, during my lunch at work, during my day job, sometimes in the evening, but I try to do my evenings for family. Family is really important to me. So I try to not take away from that time. During a trip to the city, Jay got me these two books. They're Pen and Gear Composition Grid Notebooks. They have 80 sheets. And she got me these two dot grid ones from the Dollar Tree. So this was $3, and then each one of these was $3 each, so $6. So I spent a total of $9, or she did.
The beautiful skies and all the different ones I wanted to share with you. Well, I shared my thoughts.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about the differences and how we should embrace our differences, because me and Jay had a talk about our art and then our writing. She's starting to write a fiction book because she did a first fiction book, and she just felt really overwhelmed because she doesn't write the way I do. So I write and I start just writing the bare bones, the little egg of my story. And it's usually, my first draft is usually around 20 to 30,000 words. It's just writing ideals, dialogue, everything all in a line. And I have this egg ready to go. And then it hatches, and it's a fledgling. Sorry, I have this whole, this little dragon egg. So it becomes a little nestling, and then a hatchling, and then it becomes a fledgling, and it just kind of grows into this until it becomes a book of its own, and it flies from the nest. I like using that analogy. Anyway, she writes in segments. She writes like this scene and this scene and this scene, and she writes all over. And then she tries to figure out how it all plays together. And I try to explain to her that everybody has their own writing style. Don't think I could probably ever write the way she does. I don't know. That would totally mind boggle my head. I kind of do like a quick outline of what I think is going to happen in the chapter. So I write like 1 through 20, and then I kind of give an idea about how my story's going, and then I just write. She just writes scenes because that's the way she sees the story. She sees it in different scenes. So she got disheartened anyway, and she was a little upset. And so I talked to her about writing differences and art differences, and maybe for her, having a reward system would be something that would work. So we came up with this jar that she can put little Lego people in. So she's going to have, because she has so many Lego people, so she's going to put Lego people in her cup. And for each like 1,000 words that she writes, or 2,000. And then she gets herself a little reward for when she finishes, because she likes Lego. So she's going to get herself little Lego things, or that type of thing, for a reward for when she finishes. And me, my reward is being able to write how many words I wrote in here, to check it off my list. But I'm different. I don't need to have like material or physical items to encourage me. But I told her that that's okay, because each person is different. And I think that we need to kind of embrace that. But with this, I'm going to show you some changes that I made in here. But I did get my birthday present, which was the Sterling Ink grid notebook. So I started laying it out. So I'm going to show you that when we do top down for next year, and trying to see just how it fit into my traveler's notebook together with some extra notebooks. First, I'll show you the changes that I made in here. The biggest change that I've made is actually these little tabs. I made them by making little corner ones, and then every month gets a little tab. And then this is the content planner, so I access that, so that gets a little tab on the bottom. And then my trackers get little tabs up top, but they're different colored. Well, different patterns. They're all this brown pattern here. I also added using sticky notes here to kind of figure out my book plan for the whole year. I was trying to figure out what I was going to use this for. I started using it for keeping track of the stats from my habit tracker, but then I moved that to the back, and I decided to use this one for an overall view, word count. So I added that. And then the other thing I've been doing, because visually, I'm a very visual person, so anything that did not get worked on does not get highlighted. So as I'm going through and I get them done, then I highlight them, and I can tell exactly which ones didn't get worked on, which really helps me mentally. I also got myself a step or stair stepper for work, and then I just gotta go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how many times a day I use it. I don't keep track of the time. I just like, am I using it? So in the back, I added, this is the count for the colors. So then I can count how many and see how many days I didn't do anything on that. And then I have them kind of laid out and set up for the next month's, but the reason I'm not filling them in completely is because I'm still thinking about changing some of my tasks, so I don't want to put them in there and then have to use whiteout or have regrets. I use this little tiny paper clip to note, this is the my creatures, magical creatures that I'm working with, and then this is my reflection. So each color, I can tell that this is the ones up here. These are ones I touch all the time, every day. These ones, I'm kind of noting that these are ones that I'm tracking, but then it's not something I touch every day. And then these ones deal with like content or my planner things. Like this is trying to figure out about quarterly questions and reflections and all that. But then what I added was the stair stepper, just kind of to color it in, have fun, just to see like it's not even how many steps I'm doing. It's just how many times am I using it, especially if I'm using it over 10 minutes, which is my goal, is to use it 10 to 15 minutes every time I'm using it, so that I'm standing up at my desk. So I'm just coloring it in, and then once I fill in all of these, if I get that done, then I'm going to start coloring it brown, and then I'll know that that's my second round. And if I get to third, which would be amazing by the end of the year, I think I'll go with like another color and just keep going and kind of do like a little key up here or something. So that way I can kind of just see like, yes, I am continuously using this every day. I'm trying to when I'm at work. So that's something else I added just for fun, just to add something kind of, because I like coloring it in. And that's the fun part for me, is just kind of going, did I do that? So that's why even in my bad days, like I've been doing really good coloring in when I'm doing things, trying to keep track of it. So then I got this book here. So I got this Sterling ink book. Oh, I think I'm backwards. Oh no, I was right. Sorry. Okay. And I started to lay out, like, this is annual goals, so I separated them out. I decided to keep all the months together, so then I wrote 2, 12, and then this is week 1 on this page. So the monthly ones, I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to do it on there or if I'm just going to do it like this one, because I already have it situated for the after and the month. I'm not sure, but I have all the weeks in here as well, so I counted them out. And then this is week 52. And then this starts the dailies, with it starting at 250. And I have, I think, 517. I don't think there's enough for every day to have its own page. So that's why I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to put these ones here, affirmations and all that, in a different journal. Because I had them set up in this journal, but as you can see, the squares are really big. But since she got me this book, you can see that the squares are a lot smaller. And because I write smaller, I don't like the really big ones. But I have this journal that came with it, and it's got like cream color paper. And I think I could probably fit all the stuff that's in here in here. But so I had this ready. Then I had the yearly stuff, which is going to change no matter what. And then I had weekly pages. So I think if I use this for monthly, weekly, daily, and then put all my extra stuff maybe in there. I'm still trying to figure it out. Or I might end up doing where I do this pages only one on one side and then the after the month on this side. So I'm still trying to figure it out because I use a lot for, so I'm going to lay it out anyway. So this is what I'm going to use next year. I'm just still trying to figure out the layout. So that's my planner update. It's going really well. So I use sticky notes to write my second session and second session of writing. What did I end with my word count, and then what page am I on? And then this is the editing of my backlist. And so I started like, okay, how many pages did I stop at? What page did I stop at? And then I just wanted to figure out how many pages I started with and what's the word count to start with, and then kind of go from there. So that's kind of how I'm using the book now. It's working really well with journaling and then doing my end of week things. So news seeds, blog seeds, and then business alignment. So that's like my weekly review right here. And then this is all writing from last week. So the journal is going really well. I plan to keep going in this journal. I have it all set up. Just trying to work on my journal for next year, so that way I don't feel so overwhelmed with having to set this up at the end of the year, if I kind of get my layout and ideals down, I think that will help me in the long run to be able to use this like I'm using this one. Hopefully that gave you some ideas, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, Muppy.